CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
All I want today is all you got.
Caught for a touchdown.
We came to fight. 1, 2, 3,
He's breaking free.
Touchdown.
And that's a safety.
Welcome back to Reliance Stadium in Houston, where the fans, the players, and Dan Dierdorf and myself all set to go. The toss was won by the Indianapolis Colts, and they will receive, and that means Peyton Manning on offense. And if you talk about a guy who can't wait for another season to get underway the way the last one ended, it would be number 18.
Yes, and that's true of everyone else on the Colts roster. Losing a Super Bowl, everyone talks about the losing Super Bowl hangover. The Colts, from the last player on the 53-man roster to the owner, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to talk about it. They are pretending that it does not apply to the Colts. And when you win 12 games that many years in a row, I could see why you're a little confident.
Neil Racker's set to kick it away to first-year man Devin Moore, 5'9", 190 pounds, out of Wyoming, originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. Rackers is ready, and we're underway in Houston. A yard deep in the end zone is Moore. And will get buried right about the 20-yard line. Xavier Adidi leading the charge. Peyton Manning, the 10-time Pro Bowler, begins his 13th NFL season. 33 touchdown passes a year ago as he got the Colts off to a 14-0 start and an eventual Super Bowl berth. As we sat around with him yesterday, Dan, none of us could believe this is season number 13, Peyton notwithstanding.
No, he still looks so young and oh so durable. What is this? It's 193rd consecutive start.
He will start from the shotgun. Fakes, got rid of it, and completes it to a dive. And a dive buried at about the line of scrimmage by Zach Dials.
But this is one positive as far as the Texans. On the first play of the game, Peyton Manning is up on the ground. They want to hit him. This is nothing new. You want to do that to the opposing quarterback, but it's so hard to get to him. And you see Mario Williams comes in and drops Peyton Manning. Nice move he puts on Ryan Dean, the right tackle, getting to the inside shoulder and upfield.
You know, a yard pickup on the play, and it's 2nd and 9. Manning under pressure again and completes to Dallas Clark out across the 25 to about the 28-yard line. Question mark on the offensive line of Indianapolis. Charlie Johnson guarding Peyton Manning's blind side, hobbled by a sore foot he bears watching today. Joseph Adai, the running back. Reggie Wayne leads a bevy of talented receivers for Manning to target.
Peyton making some changes at the last second, back in a huddle. That wasn't their muddle huddle up by the line of scrimmage. They were in a full huddle that time. And again, they go with the bunch formation down here to the near side.
No one better than converting third downs the last 3 years in the NFL than the Indianapolis Colts. Manning with time. In and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Dallas Clark.
Well, that is a superlative series for the Texans to get this thing started. It involved pressure on Manning, and on the third play, it involved outstanding coverage. Peyton had nowhere to go, and I think even if that pass was completed, it wouldn't have been for enough yardage to move the chains.
DeMeco Ryans did the job of separating ball from receiver. Ready to kick it away for the Colts. Pat McAfee. Jacoby Jones from his own 30. Midfield. 40. Tracked down at about his 30-yard line by Justin Tryon. 41-yard punt, 39-yard return.
Well, it's nothing new to know that Jacoby Jones is an explosive return man, and especially for a guy that's 6 feet 2 inches tall. Long legs, that is just great blocking. But that last move slowed him down to the point where Tryon could come in. But take a look at the quality of the blocks that he's getting from these guys. Barber comes up with a beautiful one that springs him there.
Great field position for the Texans. The Indianapolis 31, Schaub throwing outside, and that is complete to Kevin Walter, number 83. Matt Schaub, an outstanding season last year. The Pro Bowl MVP after leading Houston to its first winning season in franchise history. Only thing that could have been better for Matt Schaub is if it had been a contract year.
Yes, that's exactly right. But after a couple of 8-8 seasons back-to-back, they finally made that hurdle up to 9-7. Of course, they had to win the last 4 games of the year to do so.
2nd and 3. Arian Foster is deep in the backfield. Schaub going to throw the short one a little behind Vontae Leach, the fullback. And it'll be 3rd and 3 on the Texans offensive line. 3rd-year left tackle Dwayne Brown will try to keep Dwight Freeney off of Schaub today. And the backs and the receivers include Andre Johnson, number 1 in the NFL in yards receiving last year and the year before that too. And 3. Schaub over the middle and inside the 20-yard line, complete to Jacoby Jones for a first down.
Well, that was good work by Jacoby Jones going down and getting that pass for Matt Schaub. First of all, he's going to have a pretty solid pocket in there. Yeah, I know it looks a little cluttered, but it was really pretty solid. He had the ability to stand tall and wait for Jones to break open. And that, I'm sure that Schaub was nice to deliver that one. He was happy to deliver that one on the numbers after that bad pass to Leach the play before.
From the 18-yard line, Schaub under center. Here's Arian Foster trying the left side, inside the 15 to about the 12-yard line. Let's check the Colts 4-3 defense. Dwight Freeney, the number 1 of a big 1-2 punch with Robert Mathis on the outside. The linebackers, Clint Session had 2 interceptions last year, both against the Texans. One of them he returned for a touchdown here in Houston. The Indianapolis secondary, terrific safeties. Antoine Bethea is rejoined by hard-hitting and healthy Bob Sanders. Peyton Manning on the sideline. Foster in the backfield. 2nd and 4, it's Foster coming to this side, inside the 10, and close to another first down at the Indianapolis 8.
Well, one of the things they think that Arian Foster brings is the ability to run into the hole, make one cut, and head upfield. He is not a dancer. They love the power that he runs with. You know, he got in, you see right there, the last 2 games last year, when you get a guy that gets an opportunity. And Foster was about as low as you could get coming into training camp last year as a rookie. He gets a chance and he runs it for 5.5 yards a carry, gets 3 touchdowns. This is the first time, though, as an NFL player, he's gone to camp as the guy.
Houston now 1st and goal at the Colts 8-yard line. To about the 6, Foster carries again. Been an interesting ride for Arian Foster, hasn't it, Dan?
Well, it really has. You see, in high school, just led the nation, 2,500 all-purpose yards. He then goes to the University of Tennessee, where, you know, his career, big junior year, but then a very disappointing senior year. And he really went undrafted, and the Texans took a chance on him. Gary Kubiak devoted a lot of time and attention to Arian Foster. He now understands what it means to be an NFL player.
He said he finally got it late last year.
The light came on.
On 2nd and goal, Schaub, quick pass over the middle, tipped and falls, incomplete. The pass intended for number 81, Owen Daniels, the tight end who missed half of last season after a torn ACL.
No, it's wonderful to see Daniels back on the field, but when you challenge the middle of the field against the Colts, you're challenging maybe the best safety duo in the NFL, and that is that guy 21, Bob Sanders, and Antoine Bethea, the free safety, and they were both involved on that play on Owen Daniels. If Bob Sanders is healthy, I think everybody knows the story, what he brings to the table. But Antoine Bethea, his safety mate back there, a superlative player.
And we get a timeout here with 9:41 to play in the first quarter. Matt Shaw of the Houston Texans threatening.
Welcome back to Houston, everybody. Here's Bob Sanders right here. Watch how awkwardly he lands as he goes over the top of Daniels and Bethea. And we're going to have to watch as he landed right on his head. And he was a little slow to get up. The Indianapolis training staff came out and talked to him, but he didn't want any attention. But that's a heck of a way to get your season started.
3rd and goal. Steve Slayton in the backfield. Shaw from the shotgun. Throwing over the middle. In and out of the hands. And was that picked off?
Did Bob Sanders get that?
Incomplete.
How close was that?
Jacoby Jones had it go off his fingertips. Then it went off the fingertips of Sanders.
Well, Bob Sanders did everything he could do to try to keep that ball from touching the turf. Again, Matt Schaub goes into the middle where there is a lot of traffic, and he did put the ball on the hands. Watch that. I mean, that is a catchable pass by Jacoby Jones. Yes, he had a guy hanging on him, but it would still hit him in the palm of the hand.
Neil Rackers, who displaced Chris Brown as the place kicker on this team, from 25 yards out. And the penalty marker is down. Ed Hockley, our referee today.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
Rashad Butler guilty.
Well, you don't see that very often, a false start on a field goal try. Luckily, it was close enough where the yardage should make too big a difference, but I doubt Rackers is really thrilled about having to do it again.
This time from 30 yards out. Matt Turk, the holder. And it's good. Just a tad over 9.5 to play here in the first quarter. The Houston Texans with a 3-0 lead. .9:32 to play in the first quarter. Texans with a 3-0 lead on the 30-yard field goal by Rackers after a 9-play, 19-yard drive. Devin Moore deep again for the kick. Moore from the 5. And once again wrapped up at about the 20-yard line. Jamar Wall leading the charge.
Yes, Tom Moore has become an offensive assistant, and Clyde Christensen is now calling the plays. Of course, he's been in Indianapolis for 9 years. He was the wide receiver coach. So it's not that he and Peyton Manning are strangers. They've been working on this for years.
A dive. About 5 to about the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 5.
I'm not sure there are many organizations that handle the handoff quite as well as the Colts do. From Tony Dungy to Jim Caldwell, that was in the works for a couple of years, and the same thing now with the handoff to Christensen from Tom Moore. And Howard Mudd, the offensive line coach, handed it off to Pete Metzelaars. Bill Polian's organization, they wrote the book on how to do this.
When it comes time to make a transition, it isn't much of a transition at all.
It's pretty seamless.
On 2nd and 5. Manning complete over the middle. That's first down yardage to Austin Collie, number 17, the second-year wideout from BYU.
Well, for those of you above a certain age, you remember the old tearaway jerseys. As you can see, they're no longer in use. There's Austin Collie working in the slot. Comes in underneath the clearance, and you see D'Amico Ryan's got the one hand on him enough to slow him down.
A dive once again, and this time wrapped up at about the 32-yard line. Mario Williams, number 90.
Well, Joseph Adai, a Houston native. It's always fun for him to come back home here and play in front of family and friends. And if you're going to cut back, and this is a pretty slick little move, but an outstanding job of Mario Williams holding the edge and honoring his responsibilities and realizing the cutback is coming and reacting to it.
Second and 10. drop on the slant. Reggie Wayne across the 40, out to about the 44, and a first down for Indianapolis.
I know the crowd really gets into it when Peyton starts to move around, and then the crowd thinks they're having an effect on him. Ask Peyton Manning. He says, I love opening up on the road. It's actually easier than opening at home. Crowd noise does not faze me in any shape, manner, or form.
Manning, complete to Collie. Tripped up just short of the 50-yard line by Kareem Jackson, the rookie corner out of Alabama.
Well, there's Jackson, the #1 pick. And, of course, he's been in big games before. But, again, this is a bootleg going the one way, and you can see when Collie runs it, there's no way to defend that route. Luckily, Houston was sitting back in a zone, and they were able to react to it pretty quickly. That's where you love to catch him in man coverage, and then that guy's wide open and might run for a long ways.
Pick up a 5, makes it 2nd and 5. Manning over the middle, off the hand of Pierre Garçon, number 85. It'll be 3rd and 5. And of course, it's a staple, and every team in the league knows you have to at least try to hurry Peyton Manning. But Mario Williams made no bones about it when we talked about it yesterday, Dan. He says if Peyton's uniform is clean at the end of the day, you probably lost.
Yeah, we're in trouble. And he said, you know, you can't get frustrated because there are times where if there was no offensive line at all, just covering the ground between you and he's still going to throw the ball and complete it.
On 3rd and 5 now, Manning under pressure, eludes the chase, and that's off the fingertips.
Well, again, right off the bat, we talked before kickoff about this offensive line, and we have seen a couple guys come through clean on Peyton Manning. This time it's Antonio Smith. He just goes right around Jamie Richard, and that, Peyton Manning, that is not what he wants to see. And that is why that was an incomplete pass. Credit Antonio Smith. Great move up the middle.
In a department at which the Colts excel, 3rd down conversions. They're 0 for 2 today. Jacoby Jones deep once again at his own 10. Fair catch called for and made at about the 15.5-yard line. 6:02 to play. First quarter. Houston back on offense, leading by 3. We talked to you about the close games in this rivalry, and no one knows it better than the Colts. In Indianapolis last year, Chris Brown missed a 42-yarder as time expired. The Texans came up short 20-17. In their second meeting here in Houston, the Texans took an early 17-0 lead. Colts came back. Cliff Sessions interception and touchdown put them up. They won 35-7.
Well, there you take a look at that margin of defeat. A note here, Melvin Bullitt has replaced Bob Sanders at safety.
Matt Shaw has it. Looking deep. Throwing deep. Incomplete. Penalty marker. Kelvin Hayden going to be flagged for the interference on Kevin Walter.
Well, Kevin Walter was so open, he almost had to come to a stop to wait for that pass. He was so far away.
Pass interference, defense, number 26. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Kelvin Hayden there, you can see him working with Walter. He's expecting safety help. I'm assuming he's expecting this help coming over. But there's no question that that's interference. But again, the pass was underthrown, and that's what got Hayden back into the play, or else that had been a touchdown pass.
That's a 53-yard pickup, and down goes Shaw, courtesy of Dwight Freeney. You know, there's something exciting about the first NFL today of the season. JB, what you got?
Greg and Dan, good to hear your voices. Wes Welker back healthy after that season-ending knee injury, the last game of the regular season. On the receiving end of that Tom Brady pass, capping a 5-play, 72-yard drive. Patriots on top of the Bengals, 7-0. Greg Gumbel and Dan Deardorff.
All right, JB, thank you. And Bob Sanders has returned to the lineup now in the Indianapolis secondary. 2nd and 17. Shaw. Flare out to the side. Nice grab by Foster down the sideline. We made a point of asking Matt Schaub about his receiving skills, and Matt Schaub said he can catch the ball.
Yeah, he said he's actually quite good. He said he's good in space. He's a good, Foster will tell us I need to improve my pass protection, but there's probably not a running back in football that doesn't feel that they need to improve in that area.
Nice one-handed grab on that, a 7-yard pickup, and Schaub looking at a 3rd and 10. Schaub throwing outside, incomplete. Jacoby Jones, the intended receiver, guarded by Justin Tryon. Just signed the middle of this week.
And Matt Schaub was going to get rid of that thing in a hurry. He had Freeney coming again on the other side. He did his little spin move. I'm sure Dwight likes to have that first sack on the books that he got a couple downs ago.
So Neil Rackers is going to try one from 49 yards out. Kick is on its way and is good. Rackers 2 for 2. Houston 6, Colts nothing. 2 Houston drives resulting in field goals. The first helped by a 39-yard Jacoby Jones punt return. The second by a 53-yard pass interference call on the Colts. And Devin Moore deep once again for Indy. 4 from his own 3. Out across the 25 to about the 28-yard line. Down 6 points. Peyton Manning going to start to look for some receivers. His Colts are in the hole. First down for the Colts. And here's Joseph Adai. And Adai can't escape the tackle by Mario Williams. Hey, is your fantasy football site letting you down? There's still time to upgrade to the award-winning Fantasy Football Commissioner. Get a special offer and help moving your league at cbssports.com/upgrade.
Well, we've still got a little more than 4 minutes left in the first quarter, but the Houston front 4 is off to a very good start.
Manning on 2nd and 9. Throwing down the sideline, picked off but out of bounds by Bernard Pollard.
Well, even though that pass ended up out of bounds because that's where Peyton Manning threw it. He saw that Reggie Wayne was completely double covered. And that pass, that was I have to believe, more of a throwaway from Peyton Manning. But if he's going to throw it away, he ought to do a better job than that.
How about those ball skills from Bernard Pollard?
Yes.
3rd and 9. Now he's going to move Dallas Clark to the other side. Manning with time, throwing up the seam, and it's complete to Reggie Wayne. And penalty markers fly.
There comes a late flag, and there's a new emphasis this year on hitting a receiver after he makes a catch with a helmet.
Here's Ed Hockley.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness defense, number 29. Helmet contact to a defenseless receiver.
Well, the crowd boos, but you better get used to it. As a DB, you've got to be careful how you hit a receiver when he's in a defenseless position. And that was the crown of the helmet from Quinn right into the face of Reggie Wayne. And that is a great way to get somebody hurt, and that will get flagged every time.
So the Colts now all the way to the Houston 35, and they give us to Adai. Adai running with dancing, and he eventually gets all of about 3 yards.
Well, while we're talking about things that are new here in the 2010 season when we got someone hurt, we're going to talk about the umpire position, but this looks serious as the Houston staff is waving for help. We'll be right back, everybody.
Yep. The Houston Texan who is down on the field is second-year defensive lineman Connor Barwin, of whom Gary Kubiak says he had a great deal of promise.
Well, and his knee gets totally collapsed here, and we'll show it one time, and if you're the least bit uncomfortable, find something else to do with your eyes for the next 10 seconds or so. But he'll be right in the middle of your screen, and it's actually his own teammate, Antonio Smith, who makes contact with his leg. There's Barwin right there in the middle of your screen, and right there you see Smith falls on his right knee and just totally collapses it. And Connor Barwin going off on a cart, and Greg was right. You don't want to jump to any conclusions, but a knee is not meant to be contorted in that shape, in that manner.
His teammates going out and paying tribute to him as he is wheeled off, and as soon as we get word on him, we of course will pass it along. 6'4", 260 pounds in his second season out of Cincinnati. Meanwhile, the Colts have a 2nd and 8 at the Houston 33. Manning under center, and hello, Antonio Smith, part of the Colt backfield.
5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, Antonio Smith didn't make any effort to get back on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
I'm here, just deal with it.
Yeah, you know, if you're able to get back, it's not a penalty.
So now Manning with a 2nd and 3. Play clock down to 5. 2, 1. Got the snap off in time. A dive. Going to get a first down. There's a penalty marker back above the 20-yard line. So there's first down yardage, but let's check the flag.
Well, first of all, a heck of a job running by a die, whether this comes back or not. He had to dodge a Koye in his own backfield.
There were 2 fouls by the offense on the play. Illegal shift, number 29, wasn't set for a full second. That penalty is declined. Holding, offense number 63. That's a 10-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
Well, the first penalty was Peyton's fault because he didn't give a die. He was out of time, and a die didn't have time to get set with the quick snap. But the holding call on Jeff Saturday is the one that's going to be enforced.
Penalties mounting up early here today. Moves the line of scrimmage back to the 38, where it'll be 2nd and 13. And for all of the notions about Peyton Manning throwing the ball, he told us it was important to give Joseph Adai some running room, although Donald Brown is in the backfield now. Manning under pressure, throws outside and complete. Manning hit the dirt. Mario Williams got it.
Well, Mario Williams here unblocked. But you don't see this Colts offense allowing a guy like this to come in untouched. That you can't do that to your quarterback. That is not the design. That is not the scheme. You can see both Charlie Johnson and Donald Brown took the inside rusher. You don't release Mario Williams under any circumstance.
Manning needs the 25-yard line for a first down. Got away from the pressure, down the sideline, and got his man at the 10-yard line. That is Anthony Gonzalez.
Well, again, Peyton Manning
ruled out of bounds now.
Well, again, it's Peyton Manning having to deal with a collapsing pocket. Right here, look at Peyton dodging traffic, sliding all around, trying to find an opening to throw the ball. All right, there's Gonzalez working against the Houston zone. Boy, at first blush, I can see why they thought it was a completed pass.
No argument from
No.
The Colts sideline. So Pat McAfee will try to pin the Texans down deep. And now we do get the challenge flag.
There's the flag. It looked, and we've only looked at one replay, but I agree with Jim Caldwell. That's worth a challenge.
Indianapolis is challenging the ruling on the field. The pass was incomplete.
So Ed Hockley will come over and take a look as we give you another look at it.
Well, Peyton Manning fights for a place to throw the ball. Gonzalez has, oh, that left heel's on the line. From the other angle we looked at, it looked like this angle here, it looks like both his feet are in the field of play. But I think right there, his left heel, at least from that other replay, looked like it was out of bounds. We'll dial that one back up here for you in a second or two, and again see if we can get a good look at whether Anthony Gonzalez had both feet on the green. Here's the look we want to see. See right there, that heel to me looks like it's out of bounds and the ball's not even there yet. Nice job tightening up on it, and keep in mind, everybody, the ruling on the field was an incomplete pass. I don't see any way that Ed Hockley overturns it and gives a reception to the Colts.
So Ed Hockley's still under the hood, but this one looks pretty clear. We have 1:53 to play here in the first quarter.
Rob Torbert was the side judge who actually had the good look at it there. He's the one who ruled it an incomplete pass.
The receiver's left foot came down on the sideline. The ruling on the field is therefore confirmed. The pass was incomplete. Indianapolis was charged with a timeout.
Now down to 2 timeouts. Houston has 2 timeouts remaining. And Pat McAfee in to kick. If this were a field goal situation, Adam Vinatieri would be attempting about a 56-yarder, and that's pretty long for Vinatieri.
Well, the story of this first quarter has been the absence of a pocket for Peyton Manning.
Aiming for the corner, and then it eludes Justin Tryon and bounces into the end zone for the touchback. Houston will start from their own 20-yard line. We check in with James Brown in New York. JB.
Greg, after an 0-6 start last season by the Titans, Vince Young got the call. They went 8-2. He's trying to pick up where he left off. Up top, Greg, 56 yards to Nate Washington. That puts Tennessee out in front by the score of 10-3 over Oakland. Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf.
JB, thanks. You know, Dan, it's been like night and day with Vince Young, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. And Jeff Fisher, he maintained faith in him, and he's been rewarded.
From the 20-yard line, Matt Shaw will give it to Arian Foster. Foster with a little running room out to the 25-yard line. Hey, it's not too late to play NFL.com's all-new fantasy football game, the first and only game with video. It's free and easy to play. Sign up today at NFL.com/fantasy.
Well, again on this series, I believe that Melvin Bullock is in at the safety positions instead of Bob Sanders. Buffet and Bullock are the 2 deep safeties for the Colts.
Again, right side and diving for first down yardage, and he appears to be right at that first down marker. Antoine Buffet cut him down.
And cut him down he did. But a good physical surge by the Texans offensive line that time. You can hear the pads pop clear up here. Look how they seal the inside, and then right in behind Vontae Leach. And he was going to get a little mileage out of that, except Antoine Bethea. Excellent job filling for the safety.
3rd and inches. Foster and Vontae Leach behind Shaw. And Foster going to get the call again, has the first down. Across the 30 to about the 32.5-yard line. We were talking with the young man. How many football players out on the field are philosophy majors?
Oh, well, not many, but count that man among them. And I'll say this, Greg, the Texans wanted to play a physical football game. This has been a physical first quarter, and they have won the physical battle.
The last time these teams met, Houston led 14-0 after one. They ended up losing. Today, they're in charge, 6-0 so far. And we're back to Houston after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Mentioned this to you earlier. Jacoby Jones had a 39-yard punt return, which led to the first field goal for Houston. Kelvin Hayden's interference was good for 53 yards for the Texans and led to their second. And now on first down, this is Arian Foster. And in on that play is not number 21, Bob Sanders. We've scanned the sidelines and seems to be missing in action right now, Dan. We're trying to find out where he is.
Yeah, we're trying to contact the Colts to find out if they've got any information for us on Bob Sanders. And again, a player going into the locker room isn't that big a deal unless it's a guy with the injury history of Bob Sanders, and we saw that very awkward tumble he took in the first quarter. And anytime Bob Sanders has to leave the field, it's news.
Meanwhile, no surprise from the Houston sideline. Connor Barwin's leg injury, and he is out for the remainder of this game at least. Shaw, short drop outside, that's complete. Good for yardage. Jacoby Jones down the sideline and out of bounds inside the Colt 45-yard line.
Bob Sanders, we're being told by the Colts, has an elbow issue, and his return is listed as questionable. So they're trying to determine the severity of his injury to an elbow.
You know, Dan, when we talked to him yesterday, and I was almost afraid to ask him a question because I didn't want him to hit me. But I asked him if there was any way that you can play smarter, and he understood what I was saying, but he only knows how to play the game one way, and that's all out.
No, and that's right. And he did land really awkwardly. Keep in mind, though, last year he had a knee and a bicep tendon injury that ended his year.
This is Steve Slayton. Now, play action fake, and the pass inside the 25-yard line. Andre Johnson makes his first catch of the day, and it's a big one. Nice play fake by Matt Schaub.
Well, and, you know, play action is a little more effective if you're running the football effectively. And they've had some good runs from Foster, and that really sets up this play action. But you see Jones clears, and then Johnson slides in right in underneath him. Jacoby Jones went deep, took the safeties with him, and then Andre Johnson slides into the void right underneath.
101 catches last year for a league-leading 1,569 yards for Andre Johnson. Schaub, low pump fake, throwing over the middle, touchdown!
That was beautiful by Matt Schaub. That is a veteran quarterback looking off the secondary with that shoulder fake to Jacoby Jones on the left side and then coming back on the seam pattern down the middle. That is beautiful. Look at this right here. That is selling it. That was just beautiful. And then right down the seam is Kevin Walter. But Matt Schaub, from a quarterback standpoint, couldn't possibly have done it any better.
For the extra point, Neil Rackers is good. 3 drives for Houston. A field goal, and then a touchdown pass. Matt Schaub to Kevin Walter. And the Houston Texans lead it 13-0. 80-yard drive in 7 plays, and Kevin Walter on the receiving end of Matt Schaub's first touchdown pass of the season. 13-0 Houston. Rackers kicking to Devin Moore. From the 2-yard line. 20. And out to about the 24, 25-yard line. On the sideline, Peyton Manning saw this touchdown, and it's a familiar feeling. Colts falling behind Houston here in Reliance Stadium. back in Houston. 3 drives, 2 field goals, and a touchdown, and Houston leads it by a score of 13-0. And let's see now how Peyton Manning reacts on offense.
And I don't need to remind anyone here in Texas that the last time these two teams played was last November the 29th, right here at Reliant. The Texans were up 17-0 in the second quarter and lost 35-27. So having a lead and not maintaining that lead is something the Texans have done with some regularity against the Colts.
From the 24-yard line. Manning, this side, and that's complete. Pierre Garçon, and Garçon twisting his way to about the 31-32-yard line. And pay particular attention to that man, because today's umpire is Chad Brown, and he's a particular interest when Peyton Manning's quarterbacking thanks to the new rules change.
Well, now you see he's going behind the offense, back into position instead of where he's been for years. Keep in mind, the umpire used to just line up about 4 or 5 yards behind the nose tackle on the defensive side of the ball. But new here in 2010, he's now going to spot the ball and get into the offensive backfield. This is all about safety of that umpire, who's taken some pretty violent hits over the years. There were some timing issues, some illegal snaps by the Colts in the preseason, and we'll see how it plays out today.
First down Colts. Manning looking left, throws, and that's Collie. Collie right at that first down marker. Now these umpires, they've had their battles in the middle and been on the short end of a lot of tough hits.
We could put something together here and show you this 100 times over. You are right in the middle of things. You're looking at the ball and the play. There's no way that you can pick up all the people coming at you from every direction. 360 degrees they're coming at you. And this is all about the safety of the umpire, putting him in the offensive backfield. He'll move into his old spot. 2 minutes left in the first half. 5 minutes left in the game.
A dive across midfield and just into Houston territory. This is where the umpire used to be on the defensive side of the ball, as you said.
They've been tweaking this. He doesn't have to be all the way back. He can still be backpedaling into situation. He just has to be behind the deepest offensive player. He'll also, by the way, go back into his customary position whenever the ball is inside the 5-yard line. Complicated, yes. If it keeps the umpire from getting smacked around, it'll be a good thing.
2nd and 6. Manning throwing. That's complete. Complete to Dallas Clark. Although Peyton took pains yesterday, he knew right away who the umpiring crew was, and he said, if anybody can take the hit, it's Chad Brown.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, Chad, this isn't his first rodeo. He's a long-time NFL official, and he's lost some way. These umpires, they're going to have to cover a whole lot more ground than they used to. Nothing new there for the Colts.
3rd and 2.
Peyton lets everybody in the sandbox.
Over the middle, that is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Pierre Garçon. Should have had it.
Boy, and then Peyton Manning's frustration is going to bubble here pretty soon. This is exactly what he wanted. He got Garçon on a crossing pattern, and he had some room. He got some separation from the rookie Kareem Jackson. Yeah, Peyton. Frustration 101.
McAfee to kick. Jacoby Jones to return at his 10. Fair catch called for. And made at the 14-yard line. 9:50 to play in the second quarter. Texans pitching a shutout so far. Hey, Thursdays this fall, William Shatner is an outspoken father who tells it like he sees it in the new comedy Bleep My Dad Says. Premieres Thursday, September 23rd after The Big Bang Theory, only CBS. Shaw in the Houston offense from their own 13-yard line. And here is Arian Foster, left side, Walker in front of him. And out of bounds as he crosses the 20.
Boy, good patient runner is Arian Foster. Of course, I'd follow Vontae Leach too. Take a look at the size of that guy, and he's been a big-time fullback in this league for a while. Again, though, that's just quality blocking by the entire offensive unit of the Houston Texans.
7-yard pickup makes it 2nd and 3. 32 yards on the day for Foster.
Love 7 yards on first down.
Foster will go to the right side. Cuts it back across the 30 and a first down. We see the kind of burst that Arian Foster has.
And Arian Foster is a tall guy. You know, in this era where running backs, you know, a lot of them are shorter and more powerful guys. Foster is a full 6'1". And he really gets a great block. Look at that kickout block from Leach where he just sends Gary Brackett all the way to the outside. But Arian Foster, a big man at 6'1", 227. And a good smile, a good attitude, and he is relishing where he is right now.
He takes a breather. Steve Slayton in the backfield. Slayton gets the handoff. No, play fake, and over the middle, intercepted. Picked off by Melvin Bullitt, and Bullitt is out of bounds inside the Houston 40-yard line.
Well, it's unfair to say that Melvin Bullitt is just a replacement for Bob Sanders, because Bullitt started all last year in Sanders' absence and had an outstanding season. And that is just a bad decision by Matt Schaub, because he's going to take Bullitt is just there to undercut this thing. He had the deep position, and I know Andre Johnson is your go-to guy, but not right into the jaws of double coverage. That was just an incorrect read by Matt Schaub.
So now Peyton Manning set up at the 35 of Houston. Under pressure, throws it out, complete to a dive. And the dive spun down inside the 35 and about the 32. And once again, pressure on Manning.
Well, once again, Peyton Manning is flat on his back. And New Orleans did a good job of pressuring Manning during the Super Bowl. And again, in this game right here, Amobi Okoye just right in on him, and Manning has no chance to get set.
Now on 2nd and 6 for Manning, and that's complete to Dallas Clark. Clark looking for first down yardage, gets it in a little bit more to about the 22.
Not bad move there for a walk-on linebacker, huh? Guy who walked on at the University of Iowa as a linebacker, and pretty nifty open field. I thought when he gave up yardage there that he was going to get trapped, and Dallas Clark says, no, I'm a little niftier than that.
100 catches a season ago for Dallas Clark for 1,106 yards and 10 touchdowns. On first down, Manning, the kick slant, and that's complete to about the 17. Reggie Wayne pulling it in.
If you've noticed the last couple of times here, Clyde Christensen and Peyton are going to quicker rhythm passes where the pass rush has no chance whatsoever. This is 1-2, bang, get rid of the football. The pass rush can't be a factor on a pattern of that depth.
Working on second-year corner Bryce McCain there. Indianapolis, second best in the league in red zone offense. That one looks like Pierre Garçon broke off the route.
Yep, that's one of those rare situations where receiver and quarterback were thinking different things. Collie and Garçon were to the right side of the field that time, and that won't be the last time it happens. That's just part of the deal.
Colts 1 out of 5 on third down chances today. Manning down to 3 seconds. 2, 1. Got the snap away. Going over the middle, and that's complete at the 10-yard line. A guy is hit hard. It's enough for a first down.
Well, kudos to Joseph Adai for holding on to this football, because he knew what was coming. Bernard Pollard is the guy that puts the second hit on him. The underneath coverage, I believe, is D'Amico Ryans, but it was that hit by Pollard. That was a thud.
First and goal for the Colts. get a whistle. And a penalty.
False start, offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's third-year guard Jamie Richard.
Well, this is Richard's first year of being a starter. So this is, he's got some growing to do. And we talked early on about the offensive line, and a couple of the question marks were at the guard position, the health of Charlie Johnson's foot at left tackle, the health of Jeff Saturday's knee at center.
You saw Matt Schaub on the sideline wondering if his interception toss is going to cost his team. Manning, Garcon off his fingertips. Whoa.
Peyton's going, I don't get that many chances at a touchdown. Peyton puts this out in front of Garcon, and it was maybe 6 inches farther than maybe Manning wanted it to go, but that is still a touchdown. That's got to be caught by Pierre Garcon. You've just got to bring that in.
Manning spreads the field on 2nd and goal. Pump fake, end zone, touchdown, Reggie Wayne.
And again, Peyton Manning, he had, I believe, Mario Williams was touching him right on him when he threw that ball.
And Melvin Bullett's pick of a Matt Schaub pass pays off for 6 points, working on 7 for Indianapolis.
Coming off the corner, no, actually it was Okoye. Okoye coming around the left side is actually pressuring Peyton Manning. You can't do it any better than that. He actually threw it behind Bernard Pollard, who thought he had outstanding coverage. What an adjustment by Wayne.
Military's kick is good, and the Colts are on the board with 5:19 to play in the first half. 13-7 Texans. Off the Melvin Bullitt interception of a Matt Schaub pass, career touchdown pass number 367 for Peyton Manning. And the Colts are on the board, 13-7 Houston, with just over 5 minutes to play. Jacoby Jones is deep for the Texans. From the 2. Changes direction. Trying to turn the corner and gets it out to about the 25-yard line. You know, that Manning to Wayne combo works pretty well, Dan.
Yes, it does, as they continue to climb up the charts of prolific duos in Colts history. And you see they're just now one behind Johnny Unitas and Raymond Berry. And you can't look at a graphic like that and see Unitas and Berry. You just got to keep in mind, folks, how much tougher it was to throw the football back then. The rules aren't what they are today. Very friendly to the passing game. That was something special.
I know the lineman couldn't pass block as well.
You couldn't. No, you couldn't hold. That's what you couldn't do.
Matt Schaub over the middle, off fingertips, incomplete pass intended for Jacoby Jones. It'll be 2nd and 10.
We're not exactly seeing a clinic by the receivers on both teams here this afternoon in terms of outstanding catches. We've seen some bobbles. We've seen some outright drops. And Jacoby Jones is very fortunate that didn't end up being an interception, because a lot of times when a ball goes that high up into the air and has that kind of hang time, more often than not there's a defender somewhere in range.
Matt Schaub completed 68% of his throws last year. Manning 69%. This is Foster, and this time Foster hit in the backfield by hard-charging Gerard Powers.
Gerard Powers is a good story for the Colts. His second-year player, but he started most of last year. He missed 4 games because of a hamstring injury, but he's a good cover guy, and that's good run support. Let's face it, there are corners in this league that don't want to tackle people. This kid's going to be around for a long time.
4.5 to play in the first half.
We got a lot of value out of the 3rd-round pick with Gerard Powers.
Schaub under pressure and goes down at the 20-yard line. Robert Mathis gets his first sack of the season.
Well, the big duo now both on the board Freeney had one in the first quarter, and now Robert Mathis gets one in the second quarter. These bookend defensive ends, and he almost, watch that, he almost got that ball out of there. Matt, watch this right here. Ooh, Matt Schaub just felt it at the last minute, was able to pull it back into his midsection.
Matt Turk, 15-year veteran out of Wisconsin Whitewater, kicking to Powers. Nice kick. Oh, look at this kick. Powers all the way back to his 23, 30, and out to his 35-yard line. Joel Dreesen makes the tackle.
Well, Peyton Manning's last play was a touchdown pass, but prior to that, there's been a whole lot of frustration. His pocket has been collapsing around him. Mario Williams got him there. Williams knocked him down here at the end. And then he's had a couple drops. Reggie wasn't able to get that, but that pass at the end, that one where he threw to the back shoulder of Reggie Wayne, and Wayne reacted to the ball and Pollard did, that was beautiful.
3:50 on the clock, 2 timeouts for Manning. Play fake to a dive, sideline pass, that's complete to Gonzalez, and Gonzalez has a touchdown at the Colt 42.
And it's good to see Anthony Gonzalez back out here after hurting his knee the first game of the season last year. And talk about having 4 quality receivers able to be on the field at the same time. Just at wide receiver, Gonzalez, Garcon, Colley, and Wayne.
To a dive on the inside, and he's wrapped up at about the 48. Meanwhile, we anticipated this aerial show from Manning and Schaub. Let's take a look.
Well, you can see Peyton is a guy that's been a lot busier. He's thrown twice as many so far as Matt Schaub. But that interception, when you look at Matt Schaub, that led directly to the Colts touchdown. So the one big mistake mars Schaub's day so far.
2nd and 8. Manning goes down. Mario Williams.
Antonio Smith in there.
Mario Williams, this is his 5th season, and he's made more of a habit than anybody else of sacking Peyton Manning.
Well, Antonio Smith was standing up, and they got there almost at the same time. Mario Williams coming in from the left side. He gets him probably a nanosecond before Smith does. They'll be arguing over who gets maybe half a sack there.
3rd and 15. And it looks like Manning got the defense to jump.
A lot of finger pointing going on now.
Encroachment, defense, number 91, 5-yard penalty.
Penalty is on Okoye. It was really interesting talking to Mario Williams, and he said, it's in my head that I was drafted and brought here to sack Peyton Manning. That's my mission in life.
And he's right.
Yes.
He's right. Reggie Bush couldn't change Peyton Manning around.
Manning not going to get the snap off before we get the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in the first half here in Houston. The Texans 13, the Colts 7. Just a reminder, coming up, the Sprint halftime report. JV, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights, and a special preview of the U.S. Open men's final between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
There's the umpire back in his old spot here inside 2 minutes of the first half.
3rd and 10. Here comes the pressure. Manning got rid of it. A dive. And a dive looking for first down yardage, and is not going to get there. Dragged down at the 45-yard line by Eugene Wilson and Bryce McCain.
We've got
a player down.
Yeah, we've got an injured Texan back by where they met Peyton Manning.
It's Antonio Smith.
Yep. He got the short end of things.
Inside the last 2 minutes and a half.
This Texans defense has played some good football here in the first half. Keep in mind that Brian Cushing, the Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. He's not here, nor will he be here the next 3 weeks because he's serving a league-mandated suspension.
And he is a heck of a player.
Oh.
But I mentioned to you during the break, Dan, that the defensive ends on both sides have not disappointed today.
Oh, no. And Peyton Manning has been under duress this entire first half. Well, you know, he's had a random play here or there, but he's been dodging people, jumping around, being brushed, and just being flat knocked down a number of times.
Manning with a 4th and 2. If they don't make this, there's a lot of time left on the clock. Manning, that's complete, and reaching for the first down is Austin Collie.
And he got it. Well, that's an indication of the Colts think they're going to have to be that aggressive to beat Houston here at home. That's a real sign of respect, I think.
And we get a whistle.
We're reviewing the ruling on the field.
So inside of 2 minutes, there's an automatic review, and they're just going to check to make sure that there was a first down.
Yeah, this is being called for by the replay assistant upstairs. It looked pretty open and shut that he had the yardage. Everyone on the officiating crew thought so. It looked that way up here.
So there's Matt Schaub hoping he gets another shot before halftime. This is the play. He needs the 42-yard line.
You could see before his right knee touched the ground, he'd already started to extend the ball. You know, where is the football when the right knee touches the ground? Right there his knee touches, but he's already extended the ball, and it sure looked to us like he had extended it beyond the marker.
Let me correct myself. He needed the 43-yard line. The ball was placed. The ball was spotted at the 42, so they're questioning the spot.
Right.
Here comes Ed Hockley.
The ruling in the field stands as called. The play resulted in a first down.
So Manning and the Colts keep the drive alive with 1:24 to play in the half.
That's one way to slow down the Colts. So
Houston led 13-0 at one point before Manning's touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne.
This is where he loves Dallas Clark.
On the slant, Garcon to about the 31.
Well, even though Garcon has mishandled a couple balls, Peyton Manning still comes back to him.
55 seconds to play. Manning stepping up, throwing. Garcon, pulled it in with one hand inside the 10-yard line, down to the 6.
Well, Pierre Garcon rewards Manning's faith in him with an acrobatic one-handed stab.
And Manning, they give to a dive, near side, and out of bounds at the 5. Let's go back to that play, and a pretty catch by Pierre Garcon.
Boy, there aren't many plays prettier than going up the sideline, and you see Manning didn't turn his eyes to him until the last minute, but squeezing the ball in between the corner underneath, the safety coming over, and that is just a thing of beauty by Pierre Garcon, and holds on to it after the hit.
2nd and goal from the 5. Little short pass to a dive, and a dive to about the 3. And the whistle blows, and Indy will burn a timeout here. Each team now with 1 timeout remaining and 21 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Peyton was initially thinking about actually running a play without taking the timeout, but the timeout exactly the way to go. You still got the 1 remaining, and you would burned off way too much time trying to get back to the ball.
Well, Peyton Manning always looks for anybody who's open, and that distribution is pretty common in a Peyton Manning football game. You know what was interesting about that last play, Dan, is Pierre Garçon, or rather Joseph Adai, was trying to get Manning's attention before the snap, saying, tell me what the play is. Then it was the short pop to him.
It helps that all 11 people know, especially the guy who's getting the pass. You know, it's just so strange looking on that sideline, watching Manning go over there and talking to Clyde Christensen and not to Tom Moore. That's going to take a while to get used to.
3rd and goal. Manning lobs it. Incomplete. Intended for Garçon. It'll be 4th and goal.
They went after the rookie. They go after Kareem Jackson, the #1 draft choice, and he was up to it. Outstanding work here by Kareem Jackson. He's right there, and as that ball comes down, Garçon is already well out of bounds. No interference, on him like glue. Well done by their #1 pick, who's been a starter since the first minicamp. They gave him the job, and it's his to keep.
So on 4th and goal from the 2, Adam Vinatieri with a 20-yard field goal attempt. And it is good. 15 seconds to play in the first half, and Indy pulls to within 3 at 13-10.
Well, Bob Sanders got hurt early in this game. Right there, he comes over the top, and he injured his elbow. It looks to me like that wasn't the way to pick a guy up with a bad injury. Matt Schaub comes back and hits Kevin Walter with a touchdown right down the seam on a beautiful play. But then Schaub throws a pitch. Melvin Bullock sets up the Colts. They respond with that touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne. And then this drive included that sensational catch by Pierre Garçon, and it included the Colts converting on a 4th down situation out towards midfield where they were being very aggressive. And that gutsy call by Jim Caldwell, the head coach, got them 3 points.
Well, as you look at the quarterback comparison, there is no doubt, unless something drastic here happens in the final 15 seconds of the first half, that it's the Colts who will go to the locker room with the momentum in this game.
But I don't think that they were really looking forward to having Peyton Manning attempt 30 passes in the first half. Now that's a bunch.
And we get a timeout called by the Colts, and that is their 3rd and final timeout. Remind you once again, coming up, the Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher, the usual suspects, all the latest NFL scores and highlights, and a preview of the U.S. Men's Open Final out at Flushing Meadow between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. That's all coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
A lot going on around the league. Again, it's just fun to have all these games going on at the same time. Keeping track of your game, keeping track of everybody else, and yeah, we'll get those bandits back in the studio. They're on it.
Pull them away from their feast.
Yeah, I don't.
That's Jacoby Jones deep.
Well, I would imagine this will be some kind of a knuckleball. Yeah, they're going to let Jones.
Jones.
I hate to challenge Jacoby Jones.
From the goal line. 20. Up to about the 23-yard line. And Matt Schaub will have 9 seconds and 1 timeout to work with.
I'd have knuckleballed it down there. I wouldn't give Jacoby Jones an extra chance to do something big. Not with this little time left in the half.
Thus reinforcing my longtime belief that you should have been a coach.
Well, no, but it's certainly easier to coach from up here. But that seemed like a no-brainer to me, especially a guy who's already found some open field running room here today.
Looks like Matt Schaub will take a knee here, and Houston at one point led this game 13-0. Then back came the Colts on a Reggie Wayne touchdown catch, an Adam Vinatieri field goal, and at the break, there you see the score. That's at halftime. 13-10 Sprint halftime report comes your way right after this. Manning under pressure. Mario Williams got it. Schaub throwing over the middle. Touchdown.
That was beautiful by Matt Schaub.
And welcome back to Reliance Stadium in Houston. That is our halftime score. Houston 13 and the Indianapolis Colts 10. Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. A new version of an old story. The Colts, when they fall behind, you may not want to do that because you just make Peyton Manning a little angry.
Well, the Texans are now entering what they know, Greg, are shark-infested waters. They have a lead going into the second half. They have been here so many times before, but yet now is when you have to take a look at history and reality, and that is that they have lost 15 of the 16 games against the Colts, and predominantly it's been because they haven't been able to close the deal.
And the Colts are very good at coming from behind. They got off to that 14-0 start last year. They were behind in 3 games. They came back to win all 3 at halftime. Now, a look at the points of protection presented by Allstate. Colts lost Bob Sanders early.
Yeah, early he got upended and landed awkwardly, and they say he has an elbow injury. It's a questionable return. Yes, Houston once again broke out to a 13-0 lead before the Colts got going. But Peyton Manning has been hot lately, and I think Houston right now has got to get it going offensively. They have just a little over 100 yards of total offense in the first half, and that's just not going to do it. You're going to have to possess the ball and try to keep Manning over on the sideline as much as possible.
Well, the Colts will kick it away. Steve Slayton is deep. And this is Slayton from the 1-yard line. Running room right up the middle. 30. And out to the 35-yard line before he's tripped up by Justin Tryon, who has been pretty good on special teams today for the Indianapolis Colts as we look at some numbers from the first half.
And you take a look at that and you can see that the Colts are the ones running all the plays. I think they've got like 14 more plays than the Texans have run. That one turnover you see for the Texans, very costly. That led directly to an Indianapolis touchdown. So again, I think the offense of the Texans is in need of getting moving here in the second half.
Let's see how Matt Schaub and company come out for this third quarter. This is Arian Foster right side. He has been an impressive runner in this game so far, out across the 40.
Well, and I think we're going to have to see more of it, because if they could just crank out some first downs and get a little continuity going on the ground, that'll really help out Matt Schaub when it comes to play action. You know, he was very successful on play action early when, you know, after they ran it a couple of times for some yardage.
What do you say? He decided early on he was going to be a football player when he figured he wasn't that good in basketball?
He gave up hoops. I think that's true for a lot of the guys out here. You found the sport you were good at and pursued.
On 2nd and 2, Foster again. First down yardage. Up to about the 49 and a first down.
Well, nice looking play here. Nice design and a good seal block right there on the left by Dwayne Brown. And boy, when you're able to see a running back coming at you like that, you can't see anybody. And there's their new offensive coordinator, Rick Dennison, who came from Denver. Of course, he and Gary Kubiak have such a long history together. Kyle Shanahan, the former coordinator, went to Washington to be with his dad.
This is Steve Slayton. Slayton across midfield and twisting to the 45 of the Indianapolis Colts. That's about a 6-yard pickup.
Well, this is what you want to turn Dwight Freeney into, and that's somebody defending the run. And that's anything. I guarantee you, Dwayne Brown, their number 76, he's going, I'll do this 100 times just so I don't have to start backpedaling and try to keep him away from my quarterback.
Houston dead even on the ground and through the air, 14 plays each. And this is Slayton. And Slayton is wrapped up and still pushes ahead for about a 3-yard pickup.
You could see that Indianapolis really showed it. Clint Session, number 55. Watch him come up here, brackets up in there. Texans were arguing that actually Session had his foot in the neutral zone and should have been flagged. I thought he was in there too. I was surprised I didn't see a flag fly.
Foster back onto the field, takes the pitch, and here he comes. Cuts it back and out of bounds just inside the 30-yard line of the Colts.
Good job by Matt Schaub of quick snapping that, and the Colts defense, they weren't ready. They weren't ready, and before they knew it, here comes Arian Foster running downhill behind Vontae Leach. And that was an effective job by the quarterback of getting that thing started a little earlier than the guys in the blue shirts wanted it to.
13 carries for 68 yards on the ground for Foster. And you were right, Dan. He is a big running back.
Yes, he is.
First down. Foster inside the 25. And now the Texans taking it to the Colt defense on the ground.
Well, this is exactly the drive they needed. Now, it's been a good drive so far, but again, the operative word for the Texans and everything they do now in this second half, finish. Can they finish the deal? Nice drive. Does it result in a touchdown? You can see right there that Houston is trying to improve that pretty dismal running attack.
This is Slayton to about the 21. And
Mitch King had his helmet come off.
You know, no one prizes this running game more than Matt Schaub. He agreed with us. He agreed with us yesterday. Hey, it makes your play action work so much better.
And number 18 would tell you exactly the same thing. It makes life a whole lot better when those linebackers and safeties suck up and bite on that run fake.
That's 7 straight rushing plays, maybe 8 in a row. But this time, Foster is met and spun around by Robert Mathis.
Well, here we are now with a 4th and short. And this is where if you're Gary Kubiak, you say to yourself, darn right we're going for it. Why not? You're 1 and 15. I think that's got to enter into every decision you make here. What can we do to break this half?
Foster and Leach in the backfield. This is Arian Foster trying to turn the corner. He will. Gets the first down.
Normally, that type of a move by a running back plays right into the strength of the Indianapolis Colts, which is pursuit and stringing something out. But they lose the edge, and it's because Owen Daniels does such a good job of blocking Clint Session. Daniels, number 81, right there, ties up Session long enough. He's got to contain, and he can't set the hard edge. That was good work by Owen Daniels back from that ACL.
You know, that whole offensive line was pretty impressive. And now here's Foster to about the 14. As Foster traveled across that line, you kept looking for a blue jersey to puncture. It didn't come through.
No, it didn't. And normally, 9 times out of 10, that's just death trying to make that outside jump against the Colts defense.
On the sideline.
Yeah, that's Ben Tate. Yeah, he was their 2nd-round pick this year. He tore up his ankle, broke his leg, and he's on injured reserve, lost for the whole year.
Shaw to throw for the first time this half, and it bounces up and incomplete. Intended for Jacoby Jones.
Why does that ball always seem to bounce right to Gary Brackett? Even though it hit the ground. I'm sure everybody in this stadium, they've seen enough of Gary Brackett and him ending up with the ball. And that contact a little early in there by Gerard Powers. He got that arm and he hit him hard enough to cause a little movement.
3rd and 6. Slayton now into the game. That's him in motion. And into the slot. Shaw throws over the middle inside the 10-yard line. It's complete to Andre Johnson.
Well, where's this spot going to be?
And that's going to be really close to a first down. We're going to get a measurement.
Yeah. That looks to be the spot the Texans needed.
Gary Kubiak's already looking for his first down play.
Well, he's already gone for it on 1 4th down. And he's not going to have to do it here.
First and goal for the Houston Texans.
What a drive this has been to this point.
It's like the Houston Texans went into the locker room at halftime, took a deep breath, and came out and started all over again. 10 rushing plays and just 2 through the air.
And chewed up 620 and counting. But again, F-I-N-I-S-H, finish.
Foster to the 5. To about the 1.5.
Again, good blocking on the left side. Dwayne Brown gets a good seal block to the inside. Wade Smith, the guard they pick up from Kansas City, comes through the hole, gets a good block. And that is exactly, the only thing missing is some popcorn and a movie ticket. That's where you want 18 to be. It's just if you're sitting behind him, you go, would you please take off your hat?
And we have timeout being called by Matt Shaw. And we'll take a break. Houston looking to put more points on the board. It's a pretty interesting statistic.
Yes, it is. But it's because what they've done with the ones they had.
Second and goal. Foster looking for the end zone. No. Short at about the 6-inch line. Gary Brackett.
Yeah, Foster was arguing that Brackett had him by the face mask. We'll be able to see a good look. Again, here comes Wade Smith around. Nice kick out block. Leach is having a heck of a game. And there's no question that Foster was down well short of the goal line. His knees touched, and as a matter of fact, that's a really good spot.
Third and goal. Foster, right side, touchdown.
Gary Kubiak couldn't have dreamed of a better drive than that to start the second half. And Vontae Leach, the fullback, he has been playing himself a football game. 44, watch Leach right there. Watch him come in, and look at Andre Johnson getting a block out there. But Leach has just played himself one heck of a football game, and Arian Foster is wise to follow the big guy into the hole.
Houston took almost 8 minutes off the clock here in the third quarter. 5 first downs en route to the end zone, and Raptors' extra point is good. 7:03 to play in the third quarter. Finally, Peyton Manning will get to play football here in the second half. 20-10, Texans. Very impressive drive to open the second half. 15 plays, 66 yards. Arian Foster tying his brief career high with 20 rushing attempts, 89 yards. Well, the day.
Well done by the Texans offensive line and Leach, the fullback. Very physical, well-blocked drive.
Devin Moore at the goal line for the Colts. And dropping the ball, picking it up, Moore at the goal line. Trying to get outside, not going to get there. Brought down at about the 15-yard line by Joel Dreesen, number 85, and back comes Peyton Manning. This is how Manning fared in the first half, and keep in mind, Peyton Manning was under the gun. There was some pressure put on him by this Houston defense.
A ton of pressure. He spent most of those first 4 possessions on his back, getting knocked down, getting jostled in the pocket, but again, he stuck with it and got 10 points to finish out the half.
So let's see how the Colts do. Their first possession. Little pass, complete. Collie. And he's brought down short of the 30-yard line. Glover Quinn, second-year cornerback out of New Mexico.
Well, they call them the kiddie corners here in Houston because of the youth. Glover Quinn actually has the majority of the starting experience. He started most of last year, but
he's the old man.
Yeah, a lot of babies at the corner around him.
On 2nd and 1, this is a dive. And a dive with a first down to about the 35.
Boy, Ryan Dean, the right tackle. Man, did he get a block on the edge that just created a real corner. Boy, and that's Bernard Pollard kind of hobbling back to the Texans defensive huddle a little bit. This guy has been an all-star addition when he got here last year from Kansas City.
No huddle for the Colts. Manning from the shotgun. Pulls it down, now throws Dallas Clark. And Clark wrapped up at about the 41-yard line.
And you know, Greg, Dallas Clark and his lack of production today is a big story because he's just tortured the Texans over the years. Last year he had 14 receptions in one of the games against Houston, and Dallas has been pretty darn quiet so far in this game.
4 catches, good for 28 yards. 2nd and 4. Quick pass, Dallas Clark to midfield and a first down for Indianapolis.
There's Anthony Gonzalez on the Indianapolis sideline talking to the training staff and the doctor, so we'll not quite sure what's going on with Gonzalez.
First down. A dive. Nice move at the line of scrimmage and inside the 40, inside the 35, and a first down again.
Boy, that was a little bit of everything on one run by Joseph Adai. Great
finesse,
feet,
little power.
Yeah, that had it all. First of all, great vision at the beginning to make that cutback, then the quick feet to make a guy miss. All right, here comes the vision to start with. All right, let's get going. Here's a little nifty move. Right, and then power. Let's finish it with a little power. And Eugene Wilson got the short end of that attempted tackle.
Donald Brown in the lineup. Manning has it batted down at the line of scrimmage. Is that Antonio Smith?
I think so. Well, yes, he's looking at the hand going, there must be a reason why this is stinging so much. Right there. Well, a good job by... They move Antonio Smith inside on pass situations, and he has had a wonderful camp and preseason.
That snaps Peyton Manning's string of 9 consecutive completions. 2nd and 10. Manning down to 2 on the play clock. Throws the slant. That's complete. Collie inside the 30 to about the 28 or 27-yard line.
I love the way the crowd starts booing. It's like Peyton doesn't have the right to do that. You're cheating. You're changing the play. You're not on. Be a man. Run what you called originally. Doesn't work that way, folks.
And the noise is not likely to bother him either. 3rd and 4. Makes his intentions known at the line. Manning going to run out of time here.
Well, Charlie Johnson, his left tackle, was completely confused. He did not understand what Peyton was trying to do. Keep in mind, Charlie Johnson missed a lot of training camp with an injury. It showed there. Welcome back to Houston, everybody. There's Charlie Johnson right there. Number 74, and look at him up there waving his arms. He doesn't understand what the heck is going on. Peyton is never able, and finally Peyton calls the timeout.
Now on 3rd and 4, Manning. Throwing. Incomplete, penalty marker down. Interference call. It's going to go against Bryce McCain as he tried to guard Reggie Wayne.
It looked like Reggie was wanting to turn upfield, and McCain didn't allow him.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact. Defense number 21. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, but it carries an automatic first down.
Well, the officiating staff determines that the contact came before Manning released the football. And that is why it's just the 5-yard penalty instead of the interference, which is a little more yardage. Gary Kubiak was really upset after that Manning timeout. He didn't think he got it called in time.
As was Antonio Smith. First down now at the 22-yard line. Quick drop on the slant, and that's incomplete. Thrown behind Wayne. It'll be 2nd and 10.
We showed you before Charlie Johnson not getting what Manning was wanting to do, but after the timeout was called, Gary goes, "I want to see you, Ed Hockley." He's making the argument, I'm sure, that, hey, I know it's Peyton Manning, and I know he's really good and stuff, but he didn't get that called before the play clock expired.
Second and 10. Manning incomplete. Over the head of Dallas Clark. You know, in all of the intensity that we've seen in the Houston Texans, nobody's more intense than Gary Kubiak, who said, he just told us very simply, if we want to get where we want to go, we've got to beat these guys. No, that's simple. Gary is a Texan through and through. He's a Houston native, and he doesn't believe in excuses. What is what is. And what it is that the Colts own this division, and the Texans would like to have a seat at the table. 3rd and 10. Manning running out of time. And this time, did he get the timeout?
Timeout call came through.
Yes, they gave it to him again.
5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Nope, delay a game.
Well, I didn't see a flag.
I didn't either.
There is no flag. But they are marching off 5 yards. Well, you can't make a living playing that close to the edge without stepping off the curb every now and then. So
Texans defense trying to stand up. 3rd and 15. Manning going down. Mario Williams and Jesse Nading.
pressure has been there all day against Peyton Manning. Now, first of all, Manning, he sets up. He's looking downfield, but he sees, because he was coming from his right side, he sees Mario Williams just easily coming around the corner, and that takes Manning's eyes from downfield. No chance at a completion there. Mario Williams is playing himself a football game.
This kick by McAfee, and there's no one deep for the Texans. And this will roll inside the 5 and down at the 1 by Justin Tryon, and we got a penalty marker. Did he step out of bounds?
Well, we see an official without a hat. That's an indication.
It was illegal touching. Number 20 went out of bounds. He then came back in bounds and was the first to touch the ball inside the 5-yard line. That results in the ball being placed at the 20-yard line.
That's an automatic touchback.
Big break goes the way of the Texans. You're looking at a crowd of 70,974. That's the 3rd largest crowd for the Texans in their brief history. And let's see if the Texans go back to their ground game with Arian Foster. That's him.
how they got the ball at the 20 instead of the 1-yard line. Up here, this is Justin Tryon, number 20, and you'll see him right there. He runs about 10 or 12 yards out of bounds and then comes back in and makes the play, but that is just an open and shut case and a nice little 19-yard pickup for the Texans on him being the first to touch the ball.
Meanwhile, Arian Foster, 21 carries, 100 yards on the day. And he's going for more. Right side, out across the 35 to about the 38-yard line where Daniel Muir makes the stop.
Good hole, but he also made Gary Brackett miss pretty handily. That's a pretty slick move on the part of Arian Foster, who for a bigger guy, a taller guy, is proving himself to be kind of elusive as well. You don't see Gary Brackett. He's one of the surest tacklers in the NFL and everything you'd like in a middle linebacker, other than he doesn't look the part because he's pretty darn small.
Foster to the sideline for a breather. Slayton. And we get a whistle. And this is going to go against Houston.
False start offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
That's left tackle Dwayne Brown. And Foster is giving Gary Kubiak everything he could possibly want in a ground game today, Dan.
Well, I'll tell you what else he's giving them. He's giving them a lot of production for not a whole lot of money. Keep in mind, he's a second-year player playing on a free agent's contract last year on a $1 per yard basis. That's he is a bargain for the Houston Texans.
Houston has come out of the locker room and has run the ball 15 of its first 17 plays here in the second half. Shaw's going to throw it here. Complete. Odin Daniel looking for first down yardage.
Listen to the crowd appreciate how much they enjoy seeing Owen Daniels back out on the field. The 8th game of the year last year where he tore his ACL, and he already had 40 receptions, and he was on his way. He was on his way to a 90 reception plus season, and such a big part of their offense, and it took them 3 or 4 weeks to actually finally adjust to the fact that he was out of the lineup.
You've alluded a couple of times, Dan, to how physical they are, and that was a goal of the coaching staff. Gary Kubiak in training camp, he said we hit more because we wanted to be more physical as a team.
You cannot say to yourself the first week of October, I think we're going to become a better running team. It doesn't work that way. As Gary told us, we've been in pads more. We've had more 9-on-7 thud drills. They have worked on it from the day the season ended last year, and we'll see how it plays out over the course of a year, but keep in mind they only averaged 92 yards a game last year on the ground, and they seem to be off to a good start.
Welcome to those of you joining us, having watched Jacksonville. As soon as the game resumes there, we'll get you back. But meanwhile here, it's been an impressive performance by the Houston Texans. Ground game to start the second half. They've taken control, and we've come to the end of the third quarter with the score. The Texans 20, the Indianapolis Colts 10. We're coming back to Houston after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back in Reliance Stadium in Houston, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, Peyton Manning not at all pleased at the turn of events here as we get the fourth quarter underway. And by the way, that 7-0 advantage to Houston over Indianapolis in the third quarter doesn't begin to tell the story. Houston held the ball more than twice as long as the Colts did. 2nd and 5. On the quick slant. Nice pickup off the turf by Andre Johnson.
Well, we'll kind of give you a little flavor of what happened early in the first quarter. Bob Sanders, watch him come right at you, goes over, comes down, and hurts his elbow. Texas comes back, touchdown to Kevin Walter. Melvin Bullock then gets an interception. Peyton counters with a beautiful throw to Reggie Wayne. But Arian Foster and the Texans running game has really been the difference here in the second half, as they have really asserted themselves And Peyton Manning has barely broken a sweat here in the second half.
I mentioned that time of possession in the third quarter, Dan. Houston had it for 10 minutes and 18 seconds. And this is Foster.
Boy, and Foster just won't stop. And Gary Brackett is, he's up, but starting to show a little wear and tear. But Arian Foster he is finishing his runs, and the Colts are having to work hard to get him on the ground. See him over the 100-yard mark already, 107. Andre Johnson, a quiet day. Only 3 receptions, and Reggie Wayne with only 4, but he did have that beautiful hookup with Peyton Manning for a Colts touchdown.
Shot now on 2nd and 8, going to give it to Foster again. To about the 42.5-yard line.
You know, at the very beginning of that little package we showed you, the Bob Sanders injury, he's gone into the Colts locker room. He went in the first half, and he has not reappeared. And I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, but that can't be good news that he has not even come back out on the field to watch the game. If he has, we can't find him. And we just wish that for a guy who's had so many injuries, you just cringe at the thought that he's hurt again.
3rd and 4. Shaw down the sideline, has a man open. Incomplete. Andre Johnson, and Justin Tryon was there with him.
Well, the pass rush of the Colts kept Matt Schaub from being able to step into that ball, and because of it, it came up short. You know, it's an all-out blitz. There's Bethea coming in off the corner, and Matt he could have stepped into it. I'm going to, when I look at it in that way, he did have room to step into it, but he just brought it in short, and that allowed Tryon to get back in on it. Andre Johnson was a good 4 yards in the open.
Gerard Powers inside his 10-yard line for the kick. Only the 2nd time today the Texans have punted. Penalty marker down. Fair catch is made just inside the 10-yard line, and let's check the marker. Colts are saying it's on Houston.
I think it might be a holding call of some kind.
Holding by the kicking team, number 33. A 10-yard penalty will be enforced from where the punt was caught. Indianapolis will keep the ball, 1st down.
So number 33, Troy Nolan, is making the hold there. Better field position for Peyton Manning. 12:38 to play here in the 4th quarter. Peyton Manning going to start things off with a pump fake, and then the pass over the middle to Reggie Wayne, and that's complete across the 35 to about the 37 or 38-yard line, and a 1st down for the Colts.
Well, one of the rare times today that Peyton was afforded a pocket where he could actually step up into it and get an alley right down the middle of the field where he found Wayne.
Manning stepping up, throws, and that one is complete to Dallas Clark. So 2 straight to get things started here by Manning, who climbs off of the turf.
Yeah, he got put on it again. Let's take a look at it. There's Mario Williams, number 90, who just falls back into him. That was not a damaging blow, but on the ground nonetheless.
2nd and 3. Manning throwing, complete. And Dallas Clark has enough for a 1st down.
And again, there's just so many talented people you have to cover when you play the Colts. It's just hard to account for everyone, and Peyton will find the single coverage and the matchup that suits him.
Clock continues to move, 11.5 to play here in the 4th. To Clark. To the Houston 41.
And that is such a high percentage pass. That's not much more than
like a
glorified handoff or a dunk in basketball. You're right. That's a good analogy.
Manning seems to have found a rhythm here. with time, and that one is incomplete. Defended well by the rookie Kareem Jackson on Pierre Garçon. Kareem, you see that shaded visor? That's to protect some pretty sensitive eyes the past few days.
Yeah, he's had an infection that started one eye, moved to the other.
Manning going deep, got it inside the 15-yard line. The ball comes loose and picked up.
Are they ruling that a catch and fumble?
Yes, they are. Belongs to Houston.
Austin Collie makes the catch in the middle of 3 Houston defenders. Not 2, but there's going to be 3 guys right there. And the second hit by Eugene Wilson is the one that separates him from the football.
And Glover Quinn picks up the loose ball.
And I think that's a good call. He was making a football move. He had secured the ball and was headed upfield.
You don't usually see the Indianapolis Colts make as many mistakes as they have made today. They have 73 yards and penalties against them. A fumble now. They've allowed a 39-yard punt return, and here's Arian Foster. Foster, 30, midfield and out of bounds.
I don't know what happened to the Houston offensive line at halftime, but whatever it was, they ought to do it more often. Because look at this hole, and what a nice cutback by Arian Foster, who finishes this thing off with a nice stiff arm right into the face of Antoine Bethea. And that is the only way that you're allowed to put your hand on somebody else's face mask if you're the running back.
Make that a career high, 154 yards rushing for Foster. Here's Slayton.
Yeah, Foster at the end of this run, you're allowed to hit the face mask, but you can't grab it.
Like that?
Yes, you can't grab it. You can put the palm of your hand on it and use it, and you shove him away. That's where the stiff arm come from. But you can't grab his face mask.
How about this Houston ground game? 182 rushing yards and counting today. Foster back into the backfield. Any bets? Look at this. To about the 25.
Well, we talked about the frustration of being 1-15 against the Colts, and there's Gary Kubiak in the quote on August the 31st. It's time for somebody else to win the AFC South, and we believe that we have the team that can do it. Those are just words. So far, with 9 minutes remaining, we've seen some action. But anyone who thinks this game is finished doesn't know anything about this series.
Foster, look at the hole, left side, 10, 5, touchdown! A star is born here in Houston today.
I can't remember the last time I saw a defense, especially a defense like the Colts, just completely shredded in a series like that. That almost looked like they were going, okay, so what? I can't imagine how disappointed the defensive coaching staff of the Colts has to be with that performance right there.
Kick is good. 8:41 to play. Houston extends to a 27-10 lead. Arian Foster, 190 yards and 2 touchdowns today. We are witnessing an impressive performance by that young man who accounted for 78 of the 91 yards on Houston's touchdown drive.
190 yards. You know, Greg, how many point lead is this?
17.
I remember being in this building one time when they had a 17-point lead with only 6 minutes left in the game. And they got beat.
I believe I was sitting right next to you.
Yes, you were.
Gerard Powers from the 2 to the 20. I'm sorry, make it Devin Moore.
And Greg, I'll guarantee you there's not a person in this building that isn't thinking the same thing.
Arian Foster having himself a whale of a day. You don't even have to know very much about football to know you don't count out Peyton Manning. Not with 8.5 minutes on the clock. But he is facing a fired-up Houston defense today.
A defense playing without arguably one of the best players of Brian Cushing.
Manning complete to a dive. Out to the 32-yard line. Second and 3. Another short pass crossing over the middle is Austin Collie, and Collie across the 35 to about the 37 or the 38. That's enough for a first down.
Well, you know, Peyton Manning is only going to take these little short crossing patterns for so long. He's setting somebody up down the seam.
To the sideline here, and Collie is bumped out of bounds at about the 43.
Whoa, what is this?
And Manning is on the deck. Is that Mario Williams?
Mario Williams is number 90 working against Charlie Johnson.
No, he's hit from behind by Antonio Smith.
Yeah, Mario's right. I didn't do anything here.
300 yards on the day for Manning. Only 10 points on the board. Short drop, quick pass. Nice grab by Dallas Clark. And he's out the midfield for another first down.
Well, an outstanding catch by Clark. That pass was well behind him. So he had to reach back with one hand and pull that in.
And the officials not wasting any time spotting the ball. Collie inside the 45 to the 43.
This is where it is so fatiguing for a defensive lineman to just continually have to rush the passer, play after play after play. The roof is closed here in Houston. It's pretty comfortable in here, but still, that's a lot of work.
Manning to the outside, and that is complete to Reggie Wayne. While we have a moment, 60 Minutes has investigated a lot of frauds over the years, but few as dangerous as the one Scott Pelley uncovers. Plus, a rare look at Beyonce. That's tonight on 60 Minutes, only CBS. 2 timeouts for each side, coming up on 6:20 to play in the fourth quarter. Manning steps up, trips as he let it go, and he's incomplete, and now falling. Is that an interception? Glover Quinn.
Quinn had it. Glover Quinn looked like he had an easy interception. What are they?
And there I see one official on this side ruling incomplete.
Peyton Manning is hit as he throws. He lost his footing.
Ruling at the field is incomplete pass.
So this ball is... Oh, they're saying that Pierre Garçon rather poked the ball out before he had it long enough for it to be an interception. That is really, really close. Garçon saved the day
by making it an incomplete.
He sure did.
2nd and 10. Manning, pump fake, short pass, dropped by Donald Brown out of the backfield. 3rd and 10.
Boy, Pierre Garçon deserves a lot of credit for making that play on Glover Quinn, because that was served up on a platter, a floater from Manning. And that was so close to being able to be called an interception. and a fumble that went out of bounds.
Here's a big play for this Texans defense. Manning throwing, wide open, middle of the field, Reggie Wayne. First down inside the 20-yard line to the 17. Under 6 minutes to play now here in the fourth.
Can this D-line get pressure on Manning? Can they suck it up and get back there?
Manning under pressure, throws incomplete.
Mario Williams slipped inside and came right up the middle. There's a guy justifying where he's drafted. Watch Williams get inside. Nice swim move inside Charlie Johnson. Forces Manning to shuffle to his left and then try to throw it back to his right. That caused the bad throw. Peyton Manning has been under duress. I'm sorry, Greg, a lot of this day.
2nd and 10. Manning has thrown the ball 53 times today. Here's number 54. Throwing outside, and that's complete. Inside the 15, and that's Donald Brown holding on this time into the 10-yard line. About 3 yards short of a first down. It'll be 3rd and 3.
I'm thinking of Jim Caldwell yesterday saying we got to run the ball better. We can't put so much pressure on our quarterback every game. Well, so much for that on opening day.
3rd and 3. Quick pass. That's complete. Touchdown. Dallas Clark.
Well, Peyton Manning has been a busy guy today. And again, he's just got so many old favorites out there. Reggie Wayne, but right up the seam. Dallas Clark, just short little pattern, and they made the most of the almost interception that went, you know, that they almost threw to Glover Quinn. They got a second life, and they capitalized.
Extra point is good by Vinatieri. Manning takes the Colts 76 yards in 12 plays, 3:49 off the clock, 10-point lead for the Texans. Welcome back to Houston. As you look at the numbers on that last scoring drive, the touchdown catch by Dallas Clark, Peyton Manning, a career-high 38 completions. He has 55 attempts. The Colts record is Jeff George with 59 of them back in 1993. Onside kick. And we get a whistle.
The whistles were blowing.
Before the ball was kicked, timeout Houston. That's their second.
Wow. And that was a
30-second
call.
timeout.
That was a good call because without anybody in the middle, McAfee was on his way to just dropping on that.
While we have a moment, I want to remind you, coming up next, Rafael Nadal going for the career Grand Slam at the U.S. Open. He'll face Novak Djokovic. They'll battle it out in the men's championship in Flushing Meadow. That's coming up next here on CBS.
Well, that, you know, McAfee spotted it right off the bat. That the whole middle of the field, take a look at this void right in here. All he has to do is get the ball to this spot right here.
That's a ghost town.
Yeah, it's a ghost town. And wisely, Houston realized it as well and called the timeout. You can see none of the Houston players are reacting. The whistles were blowing. Yeah, that's true. 1 and 15. That's not a typo. Talk about offenses in different directions today. The Texans have run the ball 33 times and passed 19. The Colts have run it 10 times and passed 57.
Onside kick.
And fielded cleanly by Houston.
Kevin Walter. So they put the good hands out there. Walter comes through, and it's Houston ball with 4:52 to play here in the fourth quarter.
Now Walter's limping a little bit. I don't know if he got a leg caught in there or an ankle or something, but he's...
Ball kind of attracts attention, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Attracts the crowd. You think number 23's picture will be all over the papers tomorrow morning if this lead holds up?
Well, Well, even if it doesn't hold up, he deserves the club.
Foster, left side. Look at that hole.
Well,
Inside the 35.
Greg, right next to him should be a picture of the offensive line and Vontae Leach. Because, again, he just follows Vontae Leach right into the hole. And I could hear the crack all the way up here in the upper recesses of this stadium from the hit by Leach.
That's 199 yards on the day by Foster.
Oh, Vontae Leach is smoking people. He's paying a price for it. If you don't think he's a little sore right now.
Foster behind Leach. Right side. This time he's tripped up the 30-yard line. Dan, remember we were talking with Andre Johnson yesterday? Johnson has 3 catches for 33 yards. And he knows that the emphasis is going to be more on the running game, and you asked him if he's okay with catching a few more passes. He said, if we run the ball well and we win more games, I'm fine with it.
And you know what? I think that's lip service from a lot of people, not from Andre Johnson. This guy is as humble, as quiet, a superstar I think as there's ever been. I mean, this guy is Sandy Koufax quiet. He's just content to play this game that he loves.
He doesn't want to play anywhere else. He loves it in Houston. He wants to spend his career here. This is Steve Slayton, and Slayton is hit hard at the line of scrimmage. Timeout on the field. Colts stop the clock with 3:29 to play. Talking about the record the Texans have against Houston. They've only won 1 of 16. Christmas Eve of '06. The Colts tied the game late in the 4th quarter on a Peyton Manning touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison. And Chris Brown hit a 48-yard field goal as time expired. Houston won it 27-24.
Well, Houston to this point has been following the blueprint that people have talked about for years in how to attack Indianapolis, and that is to run the football, to keep Peyton Manning on the sideline. It's just not many people have been able to pull it off. The Texans today might even be surprising themselves with how well they're running the ball. 228 yards to this point.
Foster looking to go over 200 yards on the day. And he does. To the 25-yard line. And the Colts burn their last time out.
I don't have these statistics at my fingertips, but the number of teams that have given up over 200 yards rushing in a game in the NFL, and one is minuscule. The number of those teams is very small.
What's really interesting is we made a point at the top of the day. Matt Schaub led the National Football League in passing last season. And what happens? The Texans come in here and run the heck out of the football.
Houston has only attempted 19 passes. Now this game again, 10 points. If they don't convert here, we still got a game going on.
Foster, first down yardage, inside the 15 to about the 16-yard line, but it's enough for a first down.
Well, the offensive line of Houston took over immediately following halftime, and they haven't quit. They have dominated the line of scrimmage. They are destroying the Colts. I mean, again, Vontae Leach that time gets in there, a big block on Phillip Wheeler. But this offensive line and this running attack of Houston has just caught fire in the second half.
215 yards and counting for Foster. First down, Texans. Here he comes again. Left side, inside the 10-yard line to the 8.
I'm telling you right now, those 15 losses worth of frustration they're coming out right now, and it's coming out in the form of great blocking. And Rick Dennison, their new offensive coordinator, he's got to be pretty happy. The Mike Shanahan protege, coached in Denver. He and Gary Kubiak, friends and partners for a long time.
And the Houston Texans will be happy to take this to the 2-minute warning.
Impressive. That's all I can say by Houston. Very impressive.
2 minutes to play here in Houston. The Texans 27, the Colts 17. A whole lot of frustration being taken out by Houston. There will be post-game discussions about the changes in the coaching staff and the line of command to Peyton Manning, but let's face it, the Houston Texans have just simply taken it to the Indianapolis Colts today. Foster.
You won't see many touchdowns as uncontested as that one. Has to be very disappointing to Indianapolis that they don't compete in a situation like that any better than that.
Neil Raffles' extra point is good. 231 yards and his third touchdown of the day.
Well, and here's how he finishes it off. Again, coming in behind Owen Daniels, Vontae Leach. And there's got to be somebody there from Indianapolis, you would think. And it's too easy to say with Bob Sanders going out that affected the defense that dramatically. Keep in mind, Melvin Bullock played all last year for Bob Sanders and played very, very well. And it would detract too much from what the Texans accomplished here today to just say, well, the Indianapolis defense fell apart when they lost Bob Sanders in the first quarter.
You think young Mr. Foster is going to sleep well tonight?
Well, there's going to be a lot of partying going on in Houston. This entire region had so much invested in this game. Let's be realistic. This game meant a whole lot more to the city of Houston than it did to the Colts. That's not saying the Colts didn't play hard. There's Bob McNair, their owner. But I'm telling you, this is a huge step when you think that you're now able to go toe-to-toe with the team that owns the division and has owned you.
Dan, how about number 23 ringing up 191 rushing yards in the second half?
Well, again, his offensive lineman, Vontae Leach, kudos to them.
This is Devin Moore, 2 yards deep in the end zone. And a hole on the right side, and Devin Moore off to the races. There's a penalty marker back at the 23-yard line.
Ed Hockley has now he's throwing his hat. That's a second penalty. There's going to be multiples here.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. Holding by the receiving team, number 73, during the return. There was also a personal foul. Unnecessary roughness by the kicking team, number 4, during the return. Those penalties will offset at the spot of the receiving team's foul. They will keep the ball at the spot of their foul, first down.
You saw Peyton Manning saying, oh, those should be offsetting. That should be a touchdown. No, I don't think so.
While we have a moment, I want to remind you, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS rolls out doubleheader action. First, Dan and I will be in Minnesota, where the Dolphins take on the Vikings in our late game. Many of you will see Tom Brady and the Patriots against Darrelle Revis and the New York Jets. Check your local listings. It all begins with the NFL today at noon Eastern time.
How about what the Patriots did today to the Bengals? Or still in the process of doing to them. Putting a 38-24. Cincinnati's making a comeback. It was, I think, 38-10 at one time.
Peyton Manning out of timeouts. A minute 45 on the clock. And down 17 points. Dallas Clark, 27. this year. Pump fake, up the seam, caught. Austin Collie. Can they catch him? No. Touchdown, Indianapolis.
There's no quitting these guys offensively, I'll say that.
73 yards.
What a precision strike from Peyton Manning. Boy, there aren't many things prettier in football. Right out of the slot, he's going to break it off and you can't even call that a skinny post. He just ran right down to the hash marks. And Peyton Manning delivered. In a situation where you're protecting a lead like this, you don't let anybody get behind you. A real failure there by the Texans secondary.
Manning now 427 yards on the day. 3 touchdowns. That's his 8th career 400-yard game.
Boy, as a defensive back in this situation, you keep everything in front of you. Everything.
Just when Arian Foster thought he was going to get a breather.
Well, we'll be watching an onside kick here for sure. Keep in mind the NFL has changed the way you can line up for an onside kick. You can't bunch your whole team over on one side like you used to be able to. Again, that's a player safety issue.
Arian Foster put up 231 yards rushing today. That's the second most ever on opening day.
And I think you saw a lot of anger on the face of Mario Williams right there. Just unhappy that the defense would give up a big play like that.
Minute 15 to play. Vinatieri most certainly will go for the onside kick. Bouncing around and free on the ground, and who's got it?
Texans. It was bouncing, but it bounced
right to Jesse Nady, number 72. Peyton Manning talked some troops on the side. We remind you, Wednesday on Showtime. JB, Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms, Warren Sapp return on cable's longest-running show, the multi-award-winning Inside the NFL, every Wednesday on Showtime.
I think we were looking at Peyton Manning demonstrating a whole lot of leadership right there. All right, we lost this game. We got a lot of work to do. We've got nothing to do but go back to Indianapolis and go to work. Let's not blame anybody. Let's just get on with it.
And Matt Schaub goes into the win the game mode. And the Colts cannot stop the clock. Dan, as we approach this game, you and I were saying it's ridiculous to talk about a must-win game on the opening day of the season. But it's pretty close to it for the Houston Texans and what it's going to mean to them in the division.
Well, they ran the risk of the tremendous disappointment if they weren't able to pull it off. I think more from a community standpoint than maybe Gary Kubiak and the players. They realize this is one of 16, but it's the biggest of 16. They now feel a way about themselves that they've never felt before. And I think that's really critical to the growth of a franchise.
Time will wind down on the Indianapolis Colts and a terrific opening day for these Houston Texans. There is your final score. Houston 34, Indianapolis 24. Peyton Manning and Matt Schaub meeting at midfield. Congratulations are exchanged. The Houston Texans with a big statement on opening day. They win it by 10. For Dan Deerdorf and for all of our CBS Sports crew, Greg Gumbel saying so long from Houston. We'll send you to James Brown in New York for all the scores and highlights after this. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.